I'm not a hiker. I don't even know what to do to tell you that. All I can say is don't do that, right? I don't even know what to tell people to prevent that except for pack extra water or something. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, back to Grace. Good morrow, everybody. My name is Robin, also known as Sunny Side Up Gal, and you are my Sunny Side Up pal. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, hello, hi, welcome. Please consider giving me a subscribe and go ahead and like the video because this one's going to be a shorty but a goodie, and me think you're gonna like it. So like it. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I am happy to have you. This episode, first of all, it is 6:32 in the AM. Me only have about 30 minutes.
Do you know you have 30 minutes? Are you kidding me? 30, yes.
We're just going to touch base because I'm going to admit I was a little snarky and kind of a coochie about the situation as well. If you couldn't already tell from the thumbnail, we are going to be chitting and chatting about the gal who went on a hike in Yosemite and then had to be airlifted out. Now, I wasn't going to cover this because I was like, that's sad, that's embarrassing. My life would be over, right? However, the queen of all queens, in the anti-fat acceptance realm, one of the first people that I started watching who covered fat acceptance nonsense, Sam at Every Size, posted a video yesterday or the day before. Actually, I'm not really. The days are melting, you guys. I'm exhausted, but I'm not complaining. I'm just like, I might get back on my Wellbutrin, like things. Okay. But listen, Sam at Every Size posted a video, brought in some important, she goes all the way.
I'm thorough.
She's thorough.
Thorough.
She brought in some important information that I was like, this is the news. She posted a video yesterday, and from her video, I learned that this video that was posted that has gone viral the last couple of weeks.
Hi, I'm Chelsea. This is me before hiking the Mist Trail in Yosemite. Hi, I'm Becky, and this is me before hiking the Mist Trail in Yosemite.
Hi, I'm Sarah. This is me before hiking the Mist Trail.
Hi, this is Christina. This is me before hiking the Mist Trail.
Hi, I'm Katie, and this is me before hiking the Mist Trail at Yosemite.
Hi, I'm Gabby, and this is me before the Mist Trail hike in Yosemite National Park.
I'm Jamie, and this is me before hiking the Mist Trail.
Hi, I'm Cass, and I feel terrific. This is me before the trail.
Oh, I'm Phil. This is me before the Mist Trail.
Hi, I'm Grace, and this is me hiking a trail. Before I hike a trail.
Is actually from a trip from 2 years ago. The person who posted it, which I'm not gonna list the name, we're just chitting, we're chatting, we're on a Zoom call, and we're probably gonna talk trash a little bit.
Trash.
Also, I did just roll out of bed. Again, it's in the morning right now. It's morning time, okay? This is my hair deal. Sometimes I'm gonna show up like this. Especially if you're a member. If you're not a member, become a member. See link below. $2 a month, okay? This person who posted the video on TikTok, it's a trip from 2 years ago. There's also rumors going around that because Grace got lifted out, that the group as a group is getting charged thousands and thousands of dollars for the helicopter ride, which is also false. So posted 2 years ago, reposted 2 weeks ago. Weird. Rumors going around that this helicopter ride is being charged to the group. Also weird, also not true. Right? It's free because this group wants to save lives. Okay. I also found out that she had Hashimoto's, which then at first led me to be like, I have Hashimoto's and I did a 14-mile bike ride in the Everglades. However, everybody is different. Bodies will body, and I'm giving Grace a little bit of grace, okay? Because I will be discussing mostly in this episode. The whole reason why I'm even here, mostly, is because I want to discuss the Hashimoto's part, because I have Hashimoto's, okay? I also heard a rumor that she pooped herself, which I don't think is true. Video.
Her up, and then the worst thing happened ever. She had to have diarrhea right on the side of the trail. I held the emergency blanket, and Phil held the other side and just kept saying, "Get it out, Grace. You're fine."
I feel like that's AI.
We learn later it's not AI. She definitely pooed.
So I'm gonna chat with you a little bit. Why I had a few people send me Sam's video, which I had already watched. You guys, listen, I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching videos. Okay, I watched Sam's video already, and I had a couple people say like, "Hey, you should talk about like why would Hashimoto's cause heat exhaustion? Yada yada yada." So I'm going to talk about that. But before I get into it, I think it's important that you guys go watch Sam's video. I think it's important that we do back research and we do our own investigatory journalism when we hear random or weird stories on the internet. Also, if you guys didn't realize this, the video went viral on social media and we never heard about it on like a regular news source until like days after it had gone viral on social media. So like I know that's how virality works. I know that sometimes news sources do get their sources from TikTok. However, I feel like anybody getting helivac from Yosemite would have hit the news maybe. It sucks that this went viral. Again, watch Sam's video. I'm not going to cover the same points as Sam because why? You guys can watch her. I'm here to talk about Hashimoto's, okay? I want to say this. I feel like we all judged, right? If you didn't judge Grace, you are probably a very nice person. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I know I'm sweet, but I don't think that I did judge. I mean, but because I'm mean maybe. I did judge Grace. I was like, this is a plus. They're trying to be plus size park. This is where my brain went. I was like, they're trying to be plus size park hoppers. They're trying to go, but they're actually going to real parks. They're doing actual hard work. I maybe even went to the point where I was like, she just didn't want to finish the hike, so she would rather be helivac. But that's just where my head went because I feel like social media and the internet, that's what they want. They want us to kind of be awful to each other. And I'm not saying that like what I do is awful. I'm just chatting. I'm chatting with my homies, right? And I do believe that obesity is a dangerous thing, and I think that the fat acceptance community is a dangerous community to be a part of. This isn't fat acceptance though. This is just people wanting to be and move their bodies, right? Like this feels different. Like people deserve to be out, you know. I don't think that, I mean, it's different. It's different than getting on the internet and being like, I'm being oppressed because I can't be on a plane versus, hi guys, we're a group of fat people and we're just like out hiking. I feel like we judged prematurely Grace. We prematurely judged Grace because I feel like that's what social media wants us to do. They want us to butt heads. They want us, like, sometimes I feel like this is a tinfoil hat moment, but I feel like shit like this is planted just so that we're not paying attention to some other big things, right? Maybe. Anybody who else is a tinfoil hat person? Did anything happen in the last 2 weeks that like we probably were distracted by Grace's ass spinning in the air by a helicopter? I don't know. The other thing too is the whole telephone game. I don't think that Grace shit herself. I really don't.
She did though.
There was a news article or a news TikTok saying that the group of friends had to be charged for the helicopter ride. That was AI.
A girl named Grace suffered heat exhaustion after hiking just 2 miles, and her hiking group could now be facing a $70,000 helicopter rescue bill. The video showed Grace starting the hike before later being airlifted by a search and rescue helicopter. Grace became too weak to continue after walking about 2 miles, so the group stopped while guides wrapped her in an emergency blanket and called for a helicopter. Many people focused on Grace's size, arguing that her physical condition may have made the hike more difficult. Others pushed back, saying she is an adult who chose to join the hike and that heat exhaustion can happen to anyone in extreme temperatures. Many users questioned why a helicopter was needed for a trail that was only about 2 miles long, with some saying it would have been faster to walk back.
Right? And then there's all these other people who are covering this catastrophe, this embarrassing thing that happened to this gal, and they're spreading even more rumors because they're covering incorrect and inaccurate information, etc., etc., etc. Just the fact though, like, I just want to go back to the fact that this was a video from 2 years ago, and for some reason the original poster decided, let me just throw it back on there, let me just put that back on there, you know, late in the game, let me try it again. I think it's sketch to me. It is sketch to me. Okay, and I don't like it. But anyway, so I did have a few people ask that I cover the Hashimoto's portion. Why would somebody with Hashimoto's have a hard time hiking and run into some heat or like temperature problems? when it comes to hiking. So if you didn't know, your thyroid acts as your body's internal thermostat. So if you have a damaged thyroid, or if you have any kind of like thyroid issues, Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, regardless, you may run into some temperature control issues. And so that could either be that could mean both heat sensitivity and cold sensitivity. So I have Hashimoto's. Most of the time, actually all the time mostly. I have cold sensitivity. So I live in Florida, and I mean, it's hot here, and sometimes I can't stand air conditioning. We actually we're like lizards. We're from the desert, so that I think that also plays a role in it as well. But when I go to work, I have a sweater there, and I just can't stand the air conditioning sometimes. Sometimes I go into Walmart. I keep a sweater everywhere. I'm like an old person. I have a sweater in my car in case I go into a Walmart and I need a sweater there. Movie theaters, a lot of people need a sweater for movie theaters, but like anywhere that I know is going to have central air, I'm bringing a sweater with me. As far as like heat exhaustion, and this has happened to me as well, not the heat exhaustion thing, just like getting really hot and being like, this is uncomfortable. But when you have something like Hashimoto's or any kind of thyroid issue, it also messes with like your thyroid senses temperature, right? It helps your body sense temperature. Your body has to sweat when you're hot. It sweats to cool down, and having Hashimoto's or any kind of thyroid problem can affect your body's ability to sweat. I know. Isn't that crazy? So if you have Hashimoto's, which can lead to hypothyroidism, it can kind of do both. But most of the time, especially when you see a fat gal with Hashimoto's and she has hypothyroidism, she's going to have a reduced ability to sweat. I had this problem, especially when we lived in Arizona, because Arizona is so dry, and sweat, any type of sweat you're going to have is going to evaporate right away. But because Hashimoto's reduces your metabolism, it reduces your ability to sweat. It lowers heat production, and that decreases sweat gland function. So it does other stuff too, like with the way that your body's vascular system like opens and closes and helps you, move blood around to cool the body or whatever like that, which and in turn can also affect how you sweat. So again, if you know anybody that has hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's, but particularly hypo, so like the fat version of thyroid problems, ask them about their feet. I guarantee you their feet are dry as hell. It causes you to be so dry. My hands are constantly dry. My scalp is dry. My feet are dry. But I try to take care of my feet. Our skin is so dry, and that's in part because we don't sweat as much. I know, it sounds crazy. You're like, whoa, didn't realize that even had anything to do with like how your skin is moisturized. Yes. It's not just oil, Water is the essence of moisture. And moisture is the essence of beauty, okay?
Moisture is the essence of wetness, and wetness is the essence of beauty.
If you talk to anybody that lives in the desert or anything like that, who lived in like a humid area, they're like, "Oh, I love Arizona so much because it's such a dry heat," right? And I lived in Arizona most of my life. My husband was born and raised there. And we live in Florida now. With the humidity here, I think we both agree that we would rather be in Florida heat than in the Arizona desert, because the Arizona desert, there's no escaping that heat. It's so dry that again, you sweat and the sweat comes right off, right? And unless you know somebody that has air conditioning, the air conditioning goes out in your car, you're fucked, right? You're constantly, you got to find shade, you got to get inside ASAP. There's no escaping this dry heat. You are in an oven when you're in the desert, right? Whereas in Florida, everybody's sweating, so it doesn't really matter. It's not a gross thing. Everybody's sweating. It's so humid, and that's how your body naturally cools off. It's more bearable. Like, it's unbearable. Like, sometimes the heat here is unbearable. The moisture in the air does feel like I'm walking through like a military gas chamber. That's extreme. It feels like I'm literally walking through thick, hot oven air. Like, it feels unbearable, but it is more bearable here than in Arizona because at least I'm sweating and my body can cool down. Whereas in Arizona, it's like, I need to get inside or I'm going to die. Actually, if you look it up, there have been more fatalities for heat stroke in Arizona than there have been in Florida. There are a lot of heat stroke or heat exhaustion hospitalizations in Florida, but like deaths happen in Arizona. And I think it's because in Florida, you sweat a shit ton. You're releasing so much water. You like are thirsty more. I'm not sure. Me not sure. Whereas in Arizona, maybe they're drinking less. They're not sweating as much. They don't realize. I'm not 100% sure. I remember hearing so many people, this is so sad, but so many people come to Arizona to go hike the Sonoran Desert and they die. And I'm not a hiker. I don't even know what to do to tell you that. All I can say is don't do that, right? I don't even know what to tell people to prevent that except for pack extra water or something. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, back to Grace. So because when you have hypothyroidism, you have a low metabolism, your body burns energy slower. And because you have a lower metabolism, your body burns energy slower and it needs less to cool down. This is why people with hypothyroidism have cold sensitivity, right? Because your body produces less heat, you're cold more often. It doesn't need to sweat as much. So like her body is probably so used to not cooling down because of her hypothyroidism that when she put it through the ringer by going on this hike, even though it was a 2-mile hike, less than that, let's give Grace some grace. Her body couldn't keep up. It was having a difficult time cooling her down, and she probably wasn't sweating as much. So there is a video it shows where like the person who's running the hiking club or whatever shows Grace, and she's got blue lips. This is the part where she talks about how Grace's lips turned blue.
The thing I noticed was that
I'm looking at Grace here. I'm not sure how far along they were. Let's see.
be really good. Already posted on my channel if you want to go. And we filmed some waterfall. We stopped and we had our lunches and we filmed wow, we did that shit. Look at that. Terrifying. But we all made it to the top and we were all super proud of ourselves and we were just like, wow.
Okay, so there is a ton of like climbing. Like, holy shit, that is a lot.
We did that shit. Look at that. At the pinnacle of the waterfall, we stopped and we had our lunches and we filmed.
I'm not sure how far along the waterfall. I'm going to say halfway. So maybe a mile or a mile and a half.
Of our snacks. Everybody was feeling really good because we felt like we just conquered a really difficult thing because we did. The only thing I noticed was that.
Okay, so I'm looking at Grace. I'm not seeing her dripping with sweat. Not that you would need to drip with sweat, but I can see there's an issue with temperature regulation, maybe. I'm just looking at a video. We're just chatting, okay?
Grace's lips were turning kind of purple.
So here she are.
Blue.
Her lips.
Grace's lips were turning. The only thing I noticed was that.
So here she is again. This is where her lips look like they're kind of purple blue, she says. Now, I'm reading the comments, and I guess the diarrhea story is true, so we have to get to that.
Or they gave her as many things as they could think of. Grace would not drink her Gatorade because she had about, I don't know, half a bar of service, so you really couldn't do much. I had an emergency blanket in my backpack. I had body wipes in my backpack. I had a neck fan. I had a cooling towel. I had electrolytes. I had candy. I had literally everything we could possibly need. Phil and I used all of our water, putting it on Grace, like in her shirt and in her hat, because she would go from super, super hot and sweaty to freezing cold with goosebumps. And I felt her.
See, this is why a lot of people were like, if she had heat stroke or heat exhaustion, why are they putting this aluminum foil black blanket on her? She's got a thyroid problem. So her body, it's almost like she's going through a thyroid storm or something like that. Like she's having an issue regulating and deregulating her heat. Like she's going through it. Okay. She's going through the ringer. I feel so bad for being kind of a bitch. So Grace, if you ever watch this, I'm sorry, but I judged you.
Again, as this was happening, and it was not in her head, it was really happening. At one point, she blacked out a little bit on my shoulder, and I was holding her up, and then.
I mean, let's be honest, though. She is a big gal. But I believe the person the host of this, like, hiking crew is called Hobbit Hikers, I guess. What would Dell Woods do? Oh, what would Elle Woods do? But Hobbit Hikers is the name. It's a business, right? And it's like anybody's body can do big things or something like that. I made that up, but it's something along the lines of like you could do hard things even if you're in a big body, which maybe Grace believed that she could. We're allowed to try, right? We're allowed to dream.
Worst thing happened ever. She had to have diarrhea right on the side of the trail.
Okay, so this was a clip that I saw on Instagram that I thought was AI. I was like, this is an AI voice because the piano is a little ridiculous. Like,
she had to have her up, and then the worst thing happened ever. She had to have diarrhea right on the side of the trail. I held the emergency blanket and Phil held the other side and just kept saying, "Get it out, Grace, you're fine." And I was like, this man, it deserves so much. He gave us privacy while we cleaned it all up. Then the search and rescue team showed up and they helped us. They took.
I bet she is so embarrassed. Like, again, this would be, I would change my name. I'd create an alias. I'd maybe even leave the country. That's mean. But I would be devastated. However, I did hear that she went back to the camp that night and everything was fine. And she, like, maybe she's a little stronger than me. So I think maybe we should give Grace a little bit of grace. And I think it's a little weird that what's her name, Chelsea from Hobbit Hikers, posted this a couple of years later. But maybe, hopefully, I mean, she got like 5 million hits on that video. I hope that she is giving Grace a little bit of a cut. Right? That is Grace spinning like a ballerina.
Pressure, which was 200/100. They gave her IV fluids with Zofran and hydration, and they hung that from a tree. They were constantly monitoring her. They gave her as many things as they could think of. Grace would not drink her Gatorade because she thought she would throw up. And I was like, stop giving her Gatorade anyway. She can't have that if she has heat stroke or heat exhaustion. It's going to make it worse. We need to cool off the outside of her body. Also, look at this idiot. I don't care if she watches this. You are stupid. That is the dumbest thing I've ever.
That was stupid. Why are you in heels on a hike?
I don't care if she watches this out of her body.
Where are you from? You look like you're exhausted too. You know what, though? She's probably watching this like,
at least I did it in heels. Grace had to be hella backed out of here.
That would be mean.
Look at this idiot. I don't care if she watches this. You are stupid. That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen on a trail. Like, seriously? Not even a water bottle and you're wearing fucking stiletto boots? You're dumb. Then
that reminds me so much of people who do Dapper. There's this thing at Disney World called Dapper Day. Actually, I think it's at Disneyland too. People will come to the two of the hottest states in the fucking country. But definitely Florida is so hot. You're going to come dressed up all dapper to the nines in heels, walking 12 miles per. Usually that's like the trip around, you know, when you come to a Disney park, you do so much walking. But people will do it in heels, and it's insane.
We saw the helicopter and it took a couple laps just to look for us, but it took about an hour for that to happen. So I decided to be smart. I ate the leftover lunch I had, and I had grapes because I was running out of water because I poured.
I'm going to be so for real. In that situation, I don't think I could have eaten. Like, maybe I could have, though, because I do stress eat. I might have been hungry then.
Poured all of it on Grace's head. Search and rescue took over the shade situation,
Poor
so
gal.
I got to be, like, relaxed for a minute. This took about 3.5 hours. So while I'm sitting here with Grace and Phil and waiting on the helicopter with search and rescue, the rest of the group has hiked up to Clark's Point and has started to hike down the John Muir Trail. Then search and rescue said,
okay, so they did John Muir. Okay, Yosemite, Mist Falls, John Muir Trail, distance. No, it's too length. See, I'm not sure where people see the 2 mile trip now. Because now I'm looking at the Mist Trail and it says 3 miles round trip. So if anything, she made it a 1.5 miles, but it's still uphill. The John Muir Trail is longer, approximately 4 miles one way compared to the Mist Trail, which is 2.5 miles. So plan accordingly. So they went even further.
hey, I need you to walk up the trail 100 yards and I need Phil to walk down the trail 100 yards and block traffic because they can't be here because of the helicopter. I said, okay, great. I go to block traffic. I tell people they can't go past me. Then a girl next to me has a hypoglycemic attack, and her boyfriend is like, hey, my girlfriend could die. Do you have any candy? And I was like, actually, that's the only thing left in my backpack. So I give this girl my candy, and I was like, I couldn't let her look in my backpack because also I had a bag of diarrhea wipes in there. And I was
I bet that this is how we get parasites. This is how we get diarrhea parasites, you guys.
like, damn, all I have in my backpack right now is candy and diarrhea. Then they dropped off a man in the helicopter, and I was like, what are they doing? Why are they dropping him off next to us? That is not where Grace is. I had just reapplied sunscreen and put Aquaphor all over my fucking face, and then this helicopter comes by and
Why are you putting Aquaphor on your face?
shoots dust all over my head and all over my face. I look like a
Oh my God,
goddamn
that's
sugar
funny.
cookie, like a snickerdoodle covered in brown sugar and cinnamon. They dropped off this dude in the forest and he had all the gear. Then they pulled the rope up and they dropped another guy down. And then we were like, well, where the hell are they? Then these two dudes emerge from the forest and I'm like, hey, she's down there. So they start going down to where Grace is, 100 yards down the trail, down 2 switchbacks. Mind you, the rest of the group is now halfway down the mountain. Then they pulled Grace up. She said it was like wearing a thong from hell. It was up her butt crack, and she said she would not unclench any part of her body because she was terrified if she unclenched, she would fall to her death. They put a helmet on her and earplugs, and she said she closed her eyes because spinning in the air like a ballerina was not something she really wanted to feel at this moment. I was terrified that she was either going to fall or puke or shit or piss as she was going up. We'd already had a diarrhea explosion. I was worried we were going to have a vomit explosion, and they took the helicopter right over my head. So this footage that you're watching right now, I am sitting on a rock, and then I am laying on a rock, and then I am literally filming right above my own face because I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything. And I was like, great, this is probably the moment Grace pukes on me. We are bonded for life. We will never not be bonded. And Phil, bless his heart, is bonded with us forever. At the last campfire, Phil said, y'all are a really solid group of people. And Grace said, yep, unlike my shit. So back to the rest of the group, they made it down to the John Muir Trail, and then they had to hike down all the switchbacks. Phil and I, after Grace went up in the helicopter, saw the side view of the waterfall because he said, well, we're already fucking late. We might as well look at it. And then we had to hike up about 6 switchbacks to the top, and I was exhausted because I'd been out there for 4 hours longer than I expected. I had no water. I said, I am dying. I had half a Gatorade that I stole from Grace because she couldn't take it on the helicopter. Phil was also out of water. I had 3% on my phone. Phil had 4% on his, and we had no service. We hiked down. Every step was fucking agony, and then Phil yanked me across the trail because there was a rattlesnake. He said, Chelsea, I can't have any more action today. When we finally made it to the bottom 3 hours later, everyone cheered, including people we didn't know. I was the last person.
Amazing. Okay, listen. Fight for her life, you guys. Fight for her life. I feel bad about judging Grace. Again, just to touch base, it is pretty common for somebody who has Hashimoto's to experience some kind of temperature gauge issues, heat exhaustion, cold, issues with temperature regulation. That's my 2 cents here. I also wanted to apologize to Grace for talking shit and thinking bad thoughts. And also, I wanted to reiterate that I feel like the internet is out to get us. Like, yes, I would say that we're friends, but, if I ever say anything on the internet that you're like, that's a little far-fetched, I would always say back, fact check. Fact check everything. Be so suspicious. Do not trust what you see on the internet, you guys. Stop it immediately. Again, I do think it's a little strange that the Hobbits company or whatever, this hiking trail lady, had to repost Grace's debacle 2 years later. Maybe she's struggling. Maybe she wants to get more clients. I don't know. I'm sad that the internet immediately saw a woman who was obese and was like, bitch, what was you doing on the hike? Like, people can't be curious and people can't move. People are allowed to be curious and people are allowed to move. It's important, I think, to know your limits, but I mean, how you gonna know your limits until you try, right? Maybe that was too much. Maybe what was she trying to do? A wabi-sabi? What is it called? Maybe she was trying to do a misogi. So a misogi is a difficult task that you have to be a difficult task where you have at best a 50% chance of finishing or succeeding. The goal is to not die and no crowds or bragging. It's meant to be a personal test rather than a public performance or commercial race. So for example, if you did decide to run a marathon and not train for it, or in Grace's situation, maybe this was her misogi. She was going to try and see if she could do a 3-mile hike that had switchbacks and elevation and see if she could do it. But I mean, thankfully the Friends of Yosemite's, I think that's what they're called, Friends of Yosemite. Yeah, Friends of Yosemite Search and Rescue, they don't charge anybody for coming to search and rescue for them, but I mean, it is important to know your limits. So I would not recommend, if you have Hashimoto's and are obese, to go on the Mist Trail unless you know that you can hike 3 miles straight without passing out, right? Again, know your limits. The main reason why I wanted to come on here was just to I guess chit and chat. Let's start a conversation in the comments below. What do you guys think? What did you first think of when you saw the videos of Grace? Were you also like, damn girl, what was you thinking? Or were you like, this is sad? Or were you like, I'm sure this isn't the entire story? Because it was a mix. It was a mix of, damn, that's sad. I would never be the same. And also like, how come I haven't heard of this? That was my first initial thought, because if you didn't, this came out like a week, maybe even less, after Melina Honey Bison went to Yosemite. And I feel like sorry, this didn't happen. The video went viral like a week or a few days after Melina got back from Yosemite. And I feel like we would have just known from actual news sources, not just one lady's Instagram or TikTok posts where other people did reactions to it. This thing has gone super viral. The telephone game is telephone gaming. And yeah, I again, do fact check. Do not trust anything, but I would say go trust Sam. Go watch Sam's video, because I was like, she did it.
I'm thorough.
She really did it. But yeah, so if you just find out that you have Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism, don't recommend that you go out and do hot and cold things. Know your limit. Make sure you have plenty of water packed, and have a way to cool your body down if you do decide to do something like this. I personally have, I have Hashimoto's, and it actually went on, I really did do a 14-mile bike ride through the Everglades. I think it's called the Shark Trails or something like that. I'm not sure. I'll post a video of us biking through, but this is actually the video that made me realize that I was in the middle of a Hashimoto's flare and my hair was falling out. Like, I knew that my hair was thinning, but I didn't know how thin it was to the extent until I watched this video. But I was in the middle of a flare. We had a huge water loss in our kitchen. We were completely regutting and redoing the kitchen. It was so much stress on my body. And anyway, I did this 14-mile bike ride in like 3 hours. We didn't even spend much time on the trail because I wanted to stop and look at alligators, but Michael was like, there's no shade. Sorry. There's no shade on this Everglades bike ride trail. And Mike was like, there's no shade. There were alligators everywhere. We saw a ton of huge alligators. Not like they weren't gonna chase us or anything like that, but like, there's alligators, there's zero shade, there's no water pumps or anything, anywhere to refill your water bottle. So whatever you've got in your basket is what you got in your basket. The bikes that you rent there, they're not even like there's no gears on them. It's literally a 1-speed like cruiser. It was so fun, but we were hauling ass because no shade, right? We were hauling ass. It was much cooler to feel the cold air on your body when you're, hauling ass on a bike. And then, yeah, I would say that was kind of a Masoki. I really didn't think that I was going to be able to do 14 miles, but it was fun and totally worth it. So if you're down in Miami, go hit up the Everglades bike ride. I think I'll put the name here, but know your limit. Because I was able to do that, I know my limits, and I think that I would be able to do an elevation hike. I probably wouldn't do the whole the other one that they had on there. I could probably do the Mist Trail, but I don't think I can do the other one. I don't think I can spend more than 6 hours out on a hiking trail. Plus, I don't know. I really don't know my limit, I guess. But anyway, I hope this wasn't too rambly schmambly, and I just wanted to jump on here and maybe help you guys give Grace a little bit of grace, because although I say that Hashimoto's is no excuse to be obese or overweight or whatever, it happens. It does slow down your metabolism, and I would say it is a justifiable reason why Grace had to be helivaced out of there. It does mess with, regardless of her size, or you know, what she eats, or if because regardless of her size, that we saw fatter people finish the hike, right? She has Hashimoto's. It's fucking with her regulation of temperature. We got to give Grace some grace. I feel bad for her. So, just imagine it was me, you guys, because mommy has bad temperature regulation. So imagine that was me, okay? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, let's talk in the comments below. I'm linking Sam's video, so don't forget to watch that video. And yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Bye.